Alek Manoah's career in Toronto might actually be over. I am not trolling. This is 100% serious. He has basically ditched the AAA team. He's upset at the Blue Jays for sending him to the minor leagues. We'll talk about that later on. Bryce Harper, he had another signature home run to clutch up for the Phillies. The AL West is shaping up to be an all-time mad dash to the finish line. And Mookie Betts, yeah, he's back and he connected on another home run. All of that in today's MLB recap. We do this almost every single day, so stick around, hit that subscribe button. Also, a reminder, use code Fuzzy on SeatGeek to save 20 bucks off. And one more thing, we have a brand new channel sponsor, Underdog Fantasy. They're going to be helping out the channel a lot, so give them a big thanks in the comments down below. Right now, they have 2 featured pick'ems, including a boosted Mookie Betts higher and lower pick. Also, Jalen Hurts, he only has to get 1 yard, so those are the featured pick'ems of the week. But one more time, thank you to Underdog Fantasy for sponsoring these videos. Use code Fuzzy, and let's get into the recap. All right, so the lone walk-off W from yesterday, the Giants and the Guardians. Mike Yastrzemski and Josh Naylor, they traded home runs, with Josh is going to McCovey Cove. Naylor, he's been the only good trade over the last few years for Cleveland. He has 87 RBIs in only 104 games. That is wild. Gavin Williams, he gave up a few in the third, an RBI single to Jock Peterson to lose the lead, and then JD Davis with the go-ahead RBI groundout. Now Cleveland, they tied it on an RBI single from Steven Kwan, so we go to extras. Andres Jimenez, he stole the lead back until rookie Blake Sabol, he singled off of Emmanuel Clase, and Emmanuel Clase just kind of sucks in 2023. He did not get a single out in this game. He's the only man I've ever seen that can throw 102 miles an hour with consistency, but never be able to miss bats. He doesn't strike out anyone as Lamont Wade Jr. walks it off. I think Clase has 2 strikeouts over the last 2 weeks. Before we talk about the insanity that was the Braves and Phillies doubleheader, we got to see what the Marlins did, because if they lose this game, they'll be tied yet again with the Giants in the NL wildcard standings. Miami got mercy ruled. I mean, if there was a mercy rule. Mark Canha, he started off the Avalanche with a solo home run. Adames and Donaldson, yes, Josh Donaldson, he's on the Brewers now. They ignited another rally in the third. Adames had the RBI double. Donaldson with the RBI single. Yes, he has his facial hair back as well. Tyrone Taylor drove in 2 in this game. He had an RBI single in the third and then an RBI double in the 5th, right before Sal Frelick made it a 6th spot for Brandon Woodruff. Speaking of Woodruff, the dude was nails. This is why Milwaukee is so terrifying on paper. Corbin Burns just a few days ago threw 8 no-hit innings, and Woodruff, he started off this game throwing 6 shutout innings, but he wasn't done. He's going to try and go for a complete game. We just have to show the offense first. Adames, he clears the bases. He's been an extra base machine and an RBI machine lately. Over his last 67 games, that's 31 extra base hits, 47 RBIs. Joey Weimer, his double made it 12 zip, and Brandon Woodruff, he kept it scoreless all the way through. A complete game shutout with 7 punchies. The Brewers, when they have Burns and Woodruff going, I mean, they're scary. Okay, one more game before we show the Braves and the Phillies, because the Cubs, they have to win this game to avoid losing some ground in the NL Central standings. Chicago, they tied it on a Nick Madrigal RBI single in the third, and Christopher Morel, this kid flat out rakes. He has 22 home runs on the season, and he has 3 home runs over his last 5. Yan Gomes, he drove in 2 more in the 6th inning. Scratch that, it was just 1 RBI, because that right there is the hardest thrown outfield assist of 2023. Nolan Jones, 103 miles an hour to rob the speedy Seiya Suzuki at home. Rookie Jordan Wicks, he now has a 1.99 ERA. He and Justin Steele are so good at limiting runs from the left side. Hunter Goodman, he drove in his 13th RBI in his first 13 big league games, and Brenton Doyle, he actually snatched the soul straight from Chicago's chest. His 2-run single put the Rockies up by 1 in the 7th, but Yan Gomes, the old man, he clutched up again. This time he actually got 2 RBIs. Now the sucky part is the Cubs are without stud closing pitcher Adbert Alzolay. He has forearm tightness right now. Michael Fulmer, he came in, he got the job done. The Cubs have won 2 games in a row, so they're still 3 games back of first place in the NL Central, but they're still sitting pretty as the 2nd place team in the wild card. They're behind the Phillies. Now staying with Philly, they were taking on the Braves at home, and this felt like a heavyweight matchup. It felt like the NLCS. I'm so excited for the playoffs this year, because this was October baseball in September. We're going to skip to the 3rd. Alec Boehm, he ripped a 2-run double. That tied it at 2, and just kidding. Albies and Olsen, they both doubled in a few runs. Olsen, his was a 2-run double, so now it's 5-2. Not so fast. Boehm, he drove in his 3rd RBI. Then Bryson hit one directly into the sun for a free 2-run double. Just kidding. Just like Nolan Jones, Ronald has a bazooka attached to his body. He can't make the catch, but his arm made up for it. So the score, it stays knotted at 5-4 Atlanta. Make it 7-4, because Michael Harris, he might be the best 9-hitter in history. He's hitting 295 with 15 home runs and 20 stolen bases. Ronald, he might be having the best leadoff season ever. They go back-to-back. Ronald, he's hitting 335 with 36 home runs, 95 RBIs, and 65 stolen bases. He leads the National League in runs, hits, on-base percentage. Is he the MVP? Let me know. Mookie hit one too, but we'll talk about that later on. Look at Trey Turner go. That standing ovation all but saved his career. His 2-run home run set up another clutch Bryce bomb. The dude makes going the other way look easy. Like, it's not supposed to be that easy to hit opposite field home runs. Harper has 16. That forces extras, and Philadelphia, they just kind of ran out of gas. Kevin Pillar and Orlando Arcia, they drove in 2 to make it a 10 spot, and Kirby Yates, he struck out 2. He has 4 saves. So Braves, they win game number 1, 10-8. So we're going to talk about Alek Manoah right after this. Next game number 2, the Phillies and the Braves. So we just saw one of the craziest games of the year. Game 2 wasn't as fun, but it still felt like a playoff type game. It ended up being 4-0 after Edmundo Sosa 2-run double, and my goodness, Matt Olson, that is a 3-run home run for his 49th home run of the year. Now Philly, they teed off again. They ran it up to 7 runs after Trey doubled and Jake Cave, and Brandon Marsh, he lifted off for the 10th time this year. Matt Olson has 40 more home runs than Brandon Marsh. He cracked his 50th of the season. Matt Olson now has 7 home runs over his last 9 games. He's hitting .515 with a 600 on base percentage over his last 9 games. Michael Harris has 16 home runs now, but Atlanta, they actually take the L. Craig Kimbrell, he finally locked in for once. He has 23 saves. Who is the best team in all of baseball right now? Is it the Braves? Is it the Dodgers? Is it the Phillies? Is it someone else? Let me know. All right, here we go. The Rangers faced off against the Jays. We'll talk about Alek Manoah after this little recap. Now, we all know that the Braves have basically won the NL East, but we can't say the same about the AL West. It is a free-for-all between the Rangers, the Astros, and the Mariners. We'll talk about the Astros and Mariners game in a second because Evan Carter, go off, bro. That's his first career home run. He could be a sneaky 5-tool fantasy option for the final few weeks of the season. Corey Seager, he knocked in another. And to be honest, all we really have to show is Jonah Heim. He had an RBI double in the 6th and a grand slam in the 7th inning, a massive 5 RBI night. Last year in 2022, he had 16 home runs and 48 RBIs in 127 games. This year in 113 games, he's got 16 home runs, so he matches last year, and 82 RBIs. Here's where the drama comes in. Alek Manoah has been reportedly missing from AAA. He has not actually pitched in AAA since being demoted a second time. Apparently, he is unhappy with how he's been treated. He feels like he has earned the right to figure it out at the big league level, just like someone like Patrick Corbin. Patrick Corbin, he's been pitching for the Nationals, even though he probably should have been sent down because he's been so terrible. But the Nationals have all but kind of conceded and said, you're going to figure it out at the big league level. I mean, is Alek Manoah in the right for kind of quitting on the Blue Jays, or did he jinx himself by saying pressure is something that you put in tires? He said that he did not feel like he was pressured at all as a big league pitcher. He kind of owned moments. So Alek Manoah, his career in Toronto might be over. All right, let's talk about the Mariners and Astros games back to back. The Rangers, they've won 3 games in a row, and they can get back into the playoffs if the Mariners lose, because Seattle, they're trying to avoid losing their 4th consecutive game. They had a great start with Cal Raleigh hitting his 28th home run. He has 23 home runs over his last 82 starts, which is insane for a catcher. Logan O'Hoppe, he's another catcher that rakes, and I'm so happy for him because to me, he was gonna win Rookie of the Year. It would have been close between him, Gunnar Henderson, Masataka, Tanner Bybee, Tristan Casas. He went off for 2 home runs in this game. He now has 4 home runs over his last 4 games. He has 10 home runs in 35 games. Now, the score stayed tied going into the 10th inning when Brandon Drury, he cracked a huge go-ahead 2-run home run. But then J-Rod hit the Angels with an Uno reverse card, a 2-run home run off the bat of J-Rod. He is officially in the 30-30 club. Another 4-hit game. He's hitting .287 with 30 home runs, 97 RBIs, and 36 stolen bases. The dude has 58 home runs, 61 stolen bases, and 20 outs above average at 22 years old. So Seattle, they tie it, but the Angels, they stormed back and made it an 8-5 ball game. Rookie Nolan Shanuel drove in the final run. He has 14 walks in 18 games. That's an insane .412 on base percentage in his first month of big league action. The Mariners have officially lost 4 games in a row, and they're now out of the wild card race. So Texas leapfrogs the Mariners for that final wild card spot, but now they have their sights on the Astros for first place in the West. Brent Rooker, he launched his 24th home run, and rookie Mason Miller, he's still building up that arm strength. He's coming back from the IL. He started off the game with 2 shutout innings, 3 strikeouts. He is going to be the ace of the A's for quite some time. He is so good. Then fellow rookie Ken Waldichuk, he came in and diced up the Astros. He held Houston scoreless through 6 innings, and then Shea Langoliers socked his 18th of the season. Like I mentioned, Waldichuk, he ended up throwing 6 shutout innings in relief. He also threw 6 no-hit frames as well. So 6 shutout, no hits allowed. Ryan Noda, he has 15 home runs on the season, and Trevor May, he closed this one out. It wasn't a close because it was a 4-run game, but Houston, they get shut out in Minute Maid. Oakland, they're now 11-9 over their last 20 games. They've hit 32 home runs and have scored 89 games over those last 20 games. That's pretty solid. Another division race that could end up being madness if Baltimore starts to fold the AL East. I just don't see the Orioles folding anytime soon because that offense is just insane. St. Louis, they really thought they had this game until Ryan O'Hearn's double in the 5th made it a 1-run game, and it's now a 3-run game in favor of the Orioles. You can't escape them. Shout out little man. Mullins launched a grand slam. He's got 14 14 home runs and 17 stolen bases despite missing 46 games. The AL Rookie of the Year favorite, Gunnar Henderson, he went 422 feet for his 25th home run, and Austin Hayes, he put the lid on this one with a 2-run single. Yeah, the Orioles, they beat the Cardinals 11-5. Tampa Bay had a field day with the Twins bullpen. Taylor Walls smoked a 3-run home run in the 5th, and then Yandy Diaz, he has 20 home runs on the season. That Jake Bauers for Yandy Diaz trade still haunts me to this day. Tyler Glasnow was absolutely cruising through 6 innings until Royce Lewis stepped up, and this guy is on another planet right now. A 3-run home run through his first 62 games dating back to last year. He's hitting .310 with 14 home runs and 49 RBIs in 62 games. Pete Fairbanks, he's been unfair lately. He has 8 saves over the last 3 weeks. Since August 23rd, he has 22 strikeouts in like 10 innings. He's got 8 saves and a 0.84 ERA. He has a syndrome that actually causes his hand and fingers to go numb, so when that's not happening, Pete Fairbanks, he's basically unhittable. Ooh, this was a fun game. The Padres and the Dodgers, Juan Soto and Mookie Betts, they traded RBIs in the first, with Mookie's being his 39th home run of the season. Who's going to win MVP? Is it Matt Olson now? Is it Ronald Acuña Jr.? Is it Freddie Freeman, Mookie Betts? Now, Mookie has the power and defense advantage. Ronald has the batting average, on base percentage, and speed advantage. Muncy, he went yard his 35th, and then Mookie knocked home 2 more. But here comes the Padres. Manny Machado launched not 1, but 2 home runs. His 27th home run in the 4th, and then a 2-run home run for his 28th. Matthew Batten, he ties it at 7 runs, and it stayed that way into the 9th inning when Juan Soto connected on a 3-run moonshot. He almost left the stratosphere on that swing, and he fully enjoyed it. He bat flipped that one. Xander Bogaerts, he sent one out as well, his 18th. The Padres, they could have been special. They finally clutched up multiple times in a single game. That's been their biggest bugaboo all year long, not being clutch. They suck with runners in scoring position. Not in this game. So the Padres are trying to catch the snakes in the NL wildcard. I say that as if the Padres aren't 8 games back, but imagine if they win like 15 of their next 20. Anyway, Evan Longoria, he drove in Arizona's first run, and it ended up 2-0 Arizona. That's when Jeff McNeil and the Mets stormed back with quickness. Jeff McNeil hit a home run, and then 2 scored on a Ronnie Mauricio double. This rookie looks pretty good. He's hitting .313 with 2 doubles and 4 stolen bases in his first 9 games. That's when the former Met clutched up. Tommy Pham, he's been so good for Arizona lately. His home run tied it up, and then Ketel Marte put the Snakes back out in front. Marte has 55 extra base hits, 74 RBIs, and a 130 OPS plus. Paul Sewald has 33 saves. The Diamondbacks, they stay a game and a half ahead of the Giants and the Marlins for that final wildcard spot. The Pirates and the Nationals, I'm only going to show CJ Abrams highlights because this dude swatted a 420-foot 2-run home run. Okay, I'll show Dom Smith's monster home run because he also went 420 plus feet. But after that, CJ, he connected on his 2nd home run of the night. That's 3 consecutive multi-hit games for CJ Abrams, and over his last 68 starts, these numbers are almost unfair. He's hitting .285 with 12 home runs and 35 stolen bases on the season. He has 18 home runs and 41 stolen bases. This kid's ceiling, it seems to be limitless now that he's actually figuring out big league pitching. So like I mentioned, the Orioles are still 3 games ahead of the Rays, but both teams are playing really well. The Rays have won 4 games in a row. The Twins are 7, and we don't have to talk about the AL Central. Moving on, the Astros are 2 games ahead of the Rangers and 2.5 games ahead of the Mariners for first place in the AL West. In the NL Central, the Cubs are 3 games back of the Brewers because the Brewers, they're 6-4 over the last 10, just like the Cubs. And then like we talked about in the AL wildcard, the Mariners are a half game back of the Rangers because the Rangers have won 3 in a row, the Mariners have lost 4 in a row. And then in the NL wildcard standings, the Reds are still 2 games back, so they're very much in it. The Marlins and the Giants are tied at a game and a half back of the Diamondbacks. So the Diamondbacks, the Cubs, every single win is going to feel like 10 wins. All right, today's Immaculate Grid, this is going to be kind of 300 wins for the Giants. Someone actually has, okay, we might have to come back to that one, but the Mets and the Giants, that one is easy. Beltran, I know for a fact that Carlos Beltran played for both teams. I'm going to get the players out the way. The Mets and the Braves. The Mets and the Braves. Did Jerry Blevins play for both teams? I can't remember. I'm going to have to skip that one. The Mets and the Phillies. A Met and a Philly. I feel like Jay Bruce played for the Mets, or did he play for the Braves? I have to come back to those 2 as well. 300 saves for the Braves. We have 300 saves for the Phillies. Okay, actually, I think I'm gonna go Jansen for this one, and then Craig Kimbrell for the Phillies. Even though Craig Kimbrell played for the Braves, I'm gonna kind of do the inverse because Jansen did not play for the Phillies, but I know he has 300 saves. So there we go. 2 more 300 save career for the Giants. What about Rob Nen? I use this guy a lot because he has Outlier in MLB The Show. Didn't Rob Nen have a bajillion saves? Let me see. Rob Nen. Oh man, 63%. My Raider score is cooked. 300 plus wins for the Braves. I'm gonna go Greg Maddux. He had 300, right? 358%. I'm almost positive that Christy Mathewson played for the Giants. It's either the Giants or the Tigers, and we're about to fail. Okay, Christy Mathewson. I mean, he won so many games, and I just had to remember if he played for the Giants or the Tigers. 300 plus career wins for the Phillies. Did Pedro? Pedro, I know for a fact that I think he ended his career. I got that one wrong. Did he not have 300 wins? I'm going to go Jerry Blevins for the Braves and the Mets. So we have 0.6. That's my best pick of the day. A Met and a Philly. I'm going to go Jay Bruce because I feel like he might have played for both teams. He did, but I missed that freaking Phillies one. Oh, Pedro Martinez only had 219 wins, but did he play for the Phillies? I feel like he did. Yeah, he ended his career with the Phillies. So, wow, that's a fun fact. I did not know that Pedro only had 219 Ws. Guys, that does it for today's recap. Thank you all so much for watching until the end if you did. And a reminder, thank you again to Underdog Fantasy for sponsoring the channel. We're going to have a lot of fun with them coming up. Mookie Betts, he's got a crazy pick'em right now. Same with Jalen Hurts. Click that link in the description. Use code Fuzzy and they'll match you up to $100. And I'll catch you guys in the next one.